Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 198 of the Planet Destiny podcast. No, I didn't just have to look at the number of the podcast to make sure I got it right. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing.
Totally
I don't have to.
You totally.
I don't have to. I gotta read nothing for that. Welcome to the show. We're back once again to talk about the goings on in the world of Destiny 2. We've got a very special guest with us, RedQueen. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm
Thanks
so
so much
happy to be here. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, we're so happy to have you here. We dragged you away from Borderlands, I think you said, to force you to talk about.
I was playing some Borderlands today. I woke up. It was one of those things where you wake up in the morning and you're like, I kind of want to change it up today and do something a little different.
I think a lot of people have been getting that feeling with Destiny as of late because, there's other things to play and we're running on the end of a season right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just so thankful that there are other things to play.
Yeah,
like
that's
I can
true.
say, Borderlands. They just remastered the first one. I'm going to go jump on that because that game is amazing. I'm going to go play the second one. Division 2 is out. I'll go run a couple strongholds on that and still not get an exotic D50 because that gun doesn't exist. Shut up, Nim. I don't want to hear it. So it's good. I mean, it's a good problem.
Did he get it? Did you get it?
I sure did.
He gets did you really?
I did. He had been looking for one for like the longest time, and I just randomly got one. I'm like, hey, is this what you're looking for? Because Division 2 is like my first game, so I wasn't like I was like, is this what you want, TBL? Is this what you're looking for? Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't get exotics in that game either.
Yeah, it's awful. You know what? Queen, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself for anybody here who might not know who you are. I'm going to go look up my time played on Division 2 so I can continue to rant about this. Just give me a few seconds, please.
My name is RedQueen. I stream on Twitch. I've met a lot of these lovely, amazing people on Twitch. I play Destiny. That's my main game. I also love some Borderlands, Division, couple other games that I like to play, Elder Scrolls, but Destiny being my main. And I do all kinds of helps on the game, and I am super goofy, and that's about all there is to Queen. She's kind of boring.
I don't think you're boring.
Anything but boring. Your streams are anything but boring. By the way, chat, 106 hours. I spent 106 hours in Division 2. Never seen one D50. It doesn't exist.
Oh my god.
I have a fraction of that, chat. Let it be known right now.
Not real. That gun does not exist.
That's crazy.
It's gonna sit.
So your hours are almost as many completions as Riot has for Last Wish, and still doesn't have 1,000 voices. So I
don't have that either.
He got it.
You don't have 1,000 voices?
It was 100 and something though, right?
I think it was like 101. That's when he got it.
There's 101 Dalmatians, Nem. There's not 101 raid clears for an exotic. Unbelievable.
That's nuts. I got it on the first one.
What? How?
I'm only a little bit mad about it.
I got it on the first one on PC and Xbox.
Oh my god, two for
That is insane.
I did not get it on PS4 yet though. I didn't get it on PS4.
34 runs to
Yeah.
I think
who do you know at Bungie?
No,
like whose arm are you twisting?
I don't know anybody.
Do you have Anarchy?
Yes, I have all that on all the platforms.
Conspiracy theory. Queen knows somebody. She's got a man on the inside. There to tweak the RNG.
Somebody knows how to push that button.
Mm-hmm.
My husband said he quit watching my streams. He's like, I'm not watching your streams anymore. He's like, it's crap. It's crap.
Oh, we'll celebrate that amazing RNG. I wish I could have some of it.
When we were playing Borderlands today, I was like I told Panda, I was like, let's go farm for Vermi and see if we can get a Northfleet. we got a Poussin Northfleet today, and chat was just like, are you serious? I'm like, you're welcome.
Some people just have really good RNG like that, and some people don't. And as much as I'm going to complain about RNG, I have the best Erentil that Destiny has ever seen.
Yes, you do.
So I have very little to complain about. In truth, so I'm not gonna complain about it. I'm just gonna be.
That gun is amazing. That gun is amazing.
We'll be talking about that Erentil in just a bit. Chat. Of course, we've got our usual roundtable of hosts here. We've got Mr. Nim Plays.
Hi.
Mr. Erentil himself, Aura.
Mr. Erentil.
Erentil. I'm
Mm.
still going to say Erentil. You're just going to have to hold it until
It's
I
fine.
get that particular role. I think the best role I've got is decent, but doesn't have that same sight, and I like that sight. It's
That sight is cool.
crispy.
It's a sniper.
It's a sniper. Dude,
It basically is.
the range you get is ridiculous. Like, that thing is a sniper.
I hit a shot today that I have to go back and look at because I don't. He didn't drop. It always happens where I map somebody and they don't have any special ammo, so there's no way for me to tell how far away it was. If you kill somebody, you'll see a brick drop. It'll tell you the distance to that brick, so you'll know exactly how far away they were. Well, I hit somebody today, and the only reference I have is the power spawn.
Yeah.
He was pretty close to our power spawn, so I have to go back and look at it. But the shot that I hit today might be the longest shot that I've ever hit in my entire life with that gun, and I'll tell you what, dude, I got a couple things. I never paid much attention to armor rolls, but apparently there's a fusion rifle like target acquisition, target adjuster on armor that you can get that makes more accuracy for your weapon. And so I'm working on triumphs. The long bit of it is I'm working on triumphs and trying to clean up some triumph score to give me a reason to log in and play Destiny as this season comes to a close. So I have to win Crucible games on different characters. And I have found out that I despise playing as a Titan. I despise it. Yeah. So one of the helmets I have has fusion rifle, like whatever target acquisition.
Targeting.
Yeah, and I was mapping people even more than I already do with that specific perk. So that I feel a difference having played for 2 months straight on a hunter without that perk.
Yeah.
Knowing what my gun is capable of doing. That perk works very well for a fusion rifle. I don't know if it works for snipers. I don't know if it works well for hand cannons, but I can tell you right now, it made a huge difference.
There are a couple of perks like that. There's one for fusion rifles. I think there's scatter projectile targeting. I think works with fusion rifles.
Yeah,
it's a helmet perk that helps with aim assist and stuff like that.
That one's rare.
Very rare. Yeah.
I know it drops for sure on the Scorned Baron helmets. If you farm those, but I haven't seen that perk on many or much other helmets.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the perks you don't see too often out there, but it might be worth hunting down for those perfect fusion rifle voops. By the way, hi Dan.
Oh hi.
I skipped introducing you, and you're like the most important.
No,
I think he's working on stuff like keeping the ship afloat.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm just patching holes here and there. It's fine. Everything is fine.
Playing Sea of Thieves live on stream as podcast hosts and
water level just rising.
Yeah, Dan's got the bucket.
I definitely was not watching my CPU usage rise and just be like, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. I figured it out though, so it's fine.
It was a Chrome extension that was open, right? It was Google Chrome.
It was the OBS source page. Because like when OBS crashes, it doesn't wipe out it's the whole thing. Anyways, hi.
Hi. I'm glad you got that figured out, Captain.
Thank you for your service. We're down safe levels.
It's one less thing to worry about.
We are good.
More power, Captain.
Oh, you mean we aren't giving her all she's got?
Not anymore.
Well, damn, son, turn that dial up to 11.
No, I just turned it down. It's fine.
Right on. Queen, you said something that I kind of wanted to build off of. Of course, you are our guest, so we're going to be grilling you about a lot of things tonight. But you mentioned a game that you like to play that I don't think anybody else here has really taken a dive into other than myself, and that's Elder Scrolls Online.
Yes.
You did use some Elder Scrolls Online?
I am an Elder Scrolls nerd. I'm a Templar. I am a big Elder Scrolls nerd. I've put a lot of hours into it on Xbox. I'm starting to rebuild my character on PC now.
Yeah.
And most people, like, everybody asks me, they're like, how come you don't stream it? And I'm like, dude, I would spend hours trying to explain to you how this game works. So unless you play Elder Scrolls and you know what's going on, you'll be standing there looking at the screen going, the hell?
What's happening?
Why are they just running around killing each other? You know what I mean?
It's a little chaotic when you watch
Yeah.
it. I got a couple of friends who stream it, and if and this is my comparison, like it reminds me a whole lot sometimes like World of Warcraft. Like there's just a lot going on. There's all these spells happening. There's all these cursors on screen, and everything's exploding, and everything is highlighted, and dudes running over there. The raids are really the mechanics are pretty silly. So yeah, all I do is ask questions when I watch it. So I decided.
It can get nutty. Like, but I'm really toxic when I play because I play PvP. So I am like.
Can you teabag in that game?
Yes.
Yes.
What?
Yeah. Yes, and you can talk in open world. So I'm like, get wrecked! Yeah, I'm that person standing on the top of the castle going, get wrecked! And and you can imagine.
God.
So I take the castle.
You log in and go straight to Cyrodiil, don't you? Straight to Cyrodiil to drag nuts everywhere.
And second was like, he comes in here sometimes and he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, just go away. I'm good.
Faces, honey.
He's like, you sound worse than me in Crucible.
I had a Nightblade just gank me. I'm fixing to find him, and I go and throw all the little spells everywhere so I can find him. And what I do?
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm gonna find that Nightblade. You got to catch every hand I got.
Yep. I'm like, everybody get out of kill him! You know, I'm one of those gamers when I play ESO, so it probably wouldn't be very smart for me to stream because I probably would have no viewers, to be honest. Or if I did, they would be really like there to watch me lose my crap. So.
Do you have neighbors?
I do.
Do you share a wall with your neighbors?
No.
Oh,
We live in a house.
I just want to talk to them and be like, do you hear what she says? My neighbors.
My neighbor's kid with the trumpet. He is. I am no louder than him. Like there's times when I'm on stream and he's sitting out there right outside in the yard going, burr, 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 and I'm like, shh. There was one time where I was really trying to focus and I was helping someone get through a raid, and I literally was like banging on my wall. I was like, shut up! I can't hear! And chat's like, toxic. You're being toxic right now. I'm like, I'm sorry. So yeah, that's about it. The extent of it.
Great.
Well, like I said, I don't think really anybody else here plays ESO, but
yeah,
I understand.
Yeah.
I owned the game and I didn't get very far.
It's a grind.
It's a grind. Like that is
It's a
game
grind.
that takes a significant amount of time to get into. And oh boy,
it's a long
Yeah.
grind. Yeah,
I love it though. I play it on
Destiny is a
PS4.
grind. Destiny, not aggressive. You at least can get somewhere in Destiny in a day.
Yeah.
ESO, you make it like 3 levels.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, with Destiny, you can get to the end of the story and to like the upper 660, 670s in like 2 days.
Yeah.
It does not take long. Especially with
especially with the new bounties. Yeah.
That ain't the case in ESO or other MMOs.
No.
Nah, you got like 80 hours minimum before you even come close to mid game.
Yeah.
So be prepared
And you
for
get
that.
your butt kicked the whole way there. Yeah, a lot of respawns and tears and sweat.
Pain. I love it though.
Mm-hmm.
I love that experience.
Okay.
But
now I know who to come look for when we play.
I'm here. I got you. Got to jump back on my Magplar. See what's changed. But what do you say we talk a bit about some Destiny?
Sure.
We've played a little bit of Destiny. There's at least one thing going on in Destiny that's going away in a couple days.
Thank God.
Everybody's like, oh, it cannot leave fast enough.
The Revelry.
Especially if they play PvP. Yeah.
So that's going away on Tuesday. How do you guys feel about the Revelry overall as an event? Starting with you, Queen.
So I've enjoyed it. I still haven't been able to get the little glowy things that go on your head, so I'm really pissed about that.
Yeah.
But I've enjoyed it. Like I haven't enjoyed the grenades in PvP unless I'm the one dishing it out. So if I'm dishing it, it's great.
How that works.
But if it's happening to me, you're cheating. You know, that's how it goes. So. But I mean, it's cool. I do like the gear on my hunter. I did enjoy getting the gear on the hunter. I have enjoyed the grind to try to get the glowy things, which I didn't get. And I definitely like some of the new things that they came out with. But I'm one of those people, like I would like anything if you put pretty on it. So like the ladybugs and the bunny rabbit, like ghost and the dragonfly ship. Yeah, I was so excited for all those things.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not really hard to please. I think I'm pretty easy.
I think that goes for like a lot of Destiny people. You put some new fancy looking armor or something in the game, we'll go for it. We'll do
I like
whatever we
that.
have to do to
I
get
want
it.
that and that and that.
And
Yep.
Man, you can put as many fancy stuff in the game as you want, but if I can't use it after the event is over,
Now, see, I agree.
I'm okay. That's neat. I'm just gonna go play some strikes or some gambit.
I'm kind of glad I didn't get that because I have heard that you weren't going to be able to keep it whenever it ends.
Nope,
And I was like, but why? It's so
the
pretty.
ornament becomes not visible after the Revelry ends, which
That's what I don't understand. You grind to get it, well, and you basically do grind to get it because I haven't gotten it yet.
yeah, exactly. So not only do you have to do a sizable grind in order to save up the Reveler's Essence to it, there's a layer of RNG on top of that.
Yeah.
And then once you finally get it, you're only going to be using it for, well, you only have like maybe 3 days now until like it's just a thing of the past.
What's the point?
Yeah, I managed to get the wings and antlers. Just simply because I was playing Gambit and Crucible with friends. I had like essence to spare. And while it looks beautiful, and I think honestly it's one of the better implemented ornaments they've done in the game, where it changes based on how many armor pieces you're wearing.
Oh yeah,
it's an absolute like just tragedy and like waste of artists' time who worked on that by making it not visible after the Revelry ends.
I know. I don't like that part. That's one part that I don't like because I know, like it to me. Remember remember in D1 when we had the glowy things that you could put on? What were they called?
The ornaments.
Yeah, like the ornaments and stuff like that you could put on
for the raids.
I miss those. I mean, I know a lot of people maybe they were like, okay, I really don't care if we have them or not, but I really did like them. I enjoyed them. I thought they made the characters look like pretty and cool.
They were the best part of the Age of Triumph.
Yeah, easily.
I agree. I miss ornaments. I miss some things.
Yeah, no, same.
And it's just such an odd decision to have because to me that's the in-game grind for the Revelry. That's the last thing you're supposed to be going for, those ornaments, because Arbalest you can get in a day. It doesn't take long to get Arbalest. And the armor set is actually really easy to get because the powerful engram or the powerful bounties you get from Ava actually drop specific pieces of armor, and they're easy to complete. So it's pretty easy to get a full armor set of the Revelry gear. And Arbalest is an easy enough weapon to grind out. The last thing you're really supposed to go for are those ornaments for the helmet. And it really just kind of disincentivizes players from running it when it's such a grind. There's RNG tied to it. You can get rare rewards from
you can get blues.
those packages. You can get blues from them. I don't know why you can get blues from them, but you can get blues from them, which dilutes the loot pool there. But they cost what is it? 75 essence.
75 essence.
Yeah.
Which takes a bit of grinding to get. You can get it. Granted, one thing I loved about the Revelry is that you could get essence from anything.
Yeah.
Like once you were done getting Arbalest, you didn't have to step foot into the Verdant Forest again. You could just go play PvP. You could go play anything in PvE and get essence. I thought that was great. That's definitely something they should look at for events moving forward. But you got to grind up 75 for these packages. So even if you've grinded up a couple hundred, you're only buying like 3 or 4 packages at a time. And to finally get those ornaments and then realize that for whatever reason, for no good reason, after this Tuesday, they're just disappearing. What was the point? Wait, why would I ever grind out for that so that I could have wings on my head for 3 days?
It kind of goes against the whole "you had to be there" philosophy, because like if for example, a player hops in like after the Revelry is over, and like you can't show off that ornament.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's true. You could be like, hey, I used to have really cool wings, but sorry. Like,
you'll
have to picture it. I know
kind
what
of
you're
a
saying.
bummer.
You know, and It's not the first time we've seen this sort of thing. If you remember the Dawning, the Sparrow from that, all the special abilities that you ran those triumphs and bounties for that Sparrow are gone.
It's just drop or whatever, and the
so I never understood that change, especially because it's not like the Sparrow dropped like 100 to 1,000 glimmer.
Yeah,
it dropped one.
It dropped one.
Like
it dropped one whole ass glimmer cube.
Nah, but that's broken. That destroys the economy, then.
You're getting too much money. You're getting too much money.
I wish I could understand the investment design behind that, because in my pea-sized human brain, I don't understand.
Right.
So the Shaxx has a last perdition that's available for sale.
Yeah.
And it is a very intense 100 glimmer to purchase.
Very intense.
So all I really want to do is pull out that sleigh and drive in a circle for about 6-7 hours to accumulate the currency necessary to make that purchase. But I can't. So now I got to go out and get this glimmer the hard way.
I got to go farm for it.
Now I got the 100 glimmer.
Getting hundreds per public event, the hard way. Rather than driving that Sparrow for 6 hours in a circle, you got to go do one public event.
I think if you had... I think it would have been funny had they taken that that sleigh and compounded by like how much you drove in that sleigh during that event, the more you looked like Tim Allen.
That's the clause. That's the Santa Claus.
Oh shit.
Dan, never change.
I won't.
Yeah.
You are a treasure. But yeah, it's this weird investment sort of thing, and Nim, you said it a couple times, but I feel bad for the artists who went through the design work for that, because it's a really cool ornament that harkens back to what we had in D1.
Or the coat to make it bigger as you accumulate more armor.
That's cool,
right?
Like the more of the Revelry armor you have on, the bigger the horns and wings get, and it's like.
I have the full set on my Warlock and on my Hunter. I have the antlers. I got the antlers like my first drop. I didn't realize that blue items dropped from first drop. Listen, don't talk to me. Listen, 1K voices. You have nothing to say to me, RedQueen. You had nothing to say to me. So
you just wanted it.
But as a Crucible player, I don't want to have antlers on my head. It's really cool in PvE, but in PvP, I don't want people to see me, let alone see me with bright orange, bright blue, bright purple.
Right.
Is it the first one we've had where the more pieces you have, the more the ornament?
Yeah.
First time in the entire game.
That used to happen with raid armor in D1.
Right, in D1, but in D2, it's the first time we've had anything like that, right?
First time.
Well, no, in D1, they all had a static appearance. The amount of armor that you had on didn't matter. What they did differently is that when you would get hurt, the armor would flicker or it would change.
Horns would get smaller than they.
And they would regrow.
Right. Some would be.
That was so cool.
Yeah, it was so good. So
we got that for a month or two at the end of Destiny 1, and we get this for 4 god awful weeks. Your initial question was how was the Revelry, and how it went like this for me. It was it's whatever, dude. Grenades, I'll have you. And then week 2, it was it's a little annoying. And week 3, it was you know what, man? I'm kind of tired. And then week 4, it was stop throwing fucking skip grenades. That's how it went for me. That's the whole progress of the Revelry in and of itself. I will say this: I came to PC late. And there's a lot of triumphs I didn't get, and a lot of characters I didn't have it when I came to PC. So the Revelry was really good for me to go in and complete my grenade triumphs on characters. I had a whole day where all I did was throw grenades for 2 hours because I needed the 200 kills with whatever. It was 200 kills with every grenade on each class got you 150 or 200 triumph score or whatever. And then I got to where I'm at right now, which is you need wins as the different subclasses. So throwing grenades was 200 or 150 triumph score.
Yeah.
75 wins as a character is worth 50.
50?
Grenades?
Fair and balanced.
Yeah.
Wins in Crucible.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where I spent all of my essence. That's why I couldn't buy a lot of the little packages because I was using grenades in Crucible. I'm
Had
sorry.
to.
I'm sorry.
Kinda had to.
Don't apologize.
It was so much
No,
fun
it's-
sometimes, though.
I could see that, but getting hit by them when it's the only thing anybody's using.
Yeah.
Like we had a couple of losses today. And it was like, did you get hit by a gun? No. Did you get hit by a gun? No, I didn't get hit by a gun. How about you? No,
Grenades.
I got hit by grenades the entire time.
Grenades.
Yeah, grenades and supers.
We played private matches last night. Me and Second did with some of the community, and he was like, no heavy, no grenade stuff. He was like, and no supers and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, come on, like that's boring. So I was like, all right. So I waited halfway until the game was over, and then I'll pop one of those little things, and I was skip. You get a skip grenade. You get a skip grenade. He's like, cheater! You freaking cheater! I'm like, I'm sorry. I just had to.
You just
That's
be an
pretty great.
Oprah. It's fine.
Yeah. Cheap bot acrobat. Yeah, you know, like comp in particular, I think this has made comp a bit more insufferable. But when it comes to PvP, I don't think I've ever gotten this much use out of the Risk Runner. Like that thing is stayed strapped on my side for the entire Revelry event because I'm just so sick of skip grenades. But I can't say anything because I'm a scumbag warlock throwing arc bolts and storm grenades and just laughing as entire teams get wiped by a single grenade. Because Arc Web.
I'm wondering if Arc Web is going to see a damage decrease because
I'm afraid.
50 a tick. There's a couple things going on with Stormcaller right now. One of them is Arc Web does appear to be a little bit strong.
It's a little powerful.
Stormcaller makes no sound.
No, it doesn't.
It has no audio cue to it at all. So I'm getting snuck up on by an electric eel. And there's no damage tick down either. You go from full health to dead. Like there's no chance. So that's been a bit.
I mean,
of an issue.
Stormcaller has been relatively weak for like
Yeah.
A long
Been
time.
for a while.
I really don't think it was. I never felt like I was a weak player when I used it. If I played Warlock, I ran Stormcaller with Ionic Blink in my super because it gave me maneuverability.
Yeah.
I never felt like I was at a disadvantage. It never had a great grenade. Going back to D1,
Yep.
grenade was always weak because the melee would hit you from
like
across
half the map
state.
away.
Right? Yeah. So
That melee was OP.
I actually
That's
went
really
back and I was watching that clip that Triple Wreck did like back in D1 when Stormcaller was first a thing, and the melee range on that was just absolutely gnarly. Like I cannot believe that was a melee range that existed.
Yeah, the build back in the day was the whatever that perk was, where if you got a kill with your melee, it automatically refilled your grenade and vice versa with Claws of Omkara, and that was it. You just go. Psst, psst,
Yep.
You're
That's
dead.
pretty crazy, dude.
I used to main Warlock in D1, of course. I was that scummy Warlock too. I was the one with the Purifier robes, with the fusion grenades,
Love it.
with the sniper and the Mida.
Love it.
So I would wait for the whole team to get on top of me, and Newberry and Sparkles would be like, all right, this is what you're going to do. You're going to bait them. You're going to have them come in, let them watch you through their little sniper guns, and then you're going to come back, blind them all, and we're going to kill them. And it worked almost every time until people started getting smart. And then they were like, oh, we got your number this time.
Stay away from that ghost.
They would stand way away. So it was
hilarious.
stickies and I would have the stickies and everything, but I enjoyed D1 trials on my Warlock.
Oh, absolutely.
I felt powerful, I did. And I know that, sticky grenades, it's a one-shot kill. It was a big controversy and stuff like that, but it was fun. So I had fun.
I don't know, man. I with as much shit as the Revelry gets in Crucible, rightfully so. Dude, I don't know how the hell I'm gonna cope in PvE when this goes away.
Right?
Yeah.
I like even like right now, I'm in the middle of a gambit match, and like my tonic runs out, and I just see that grenade trickle. Just like years.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of basic cooldown is this?
It's disgusting, right?
Then I have to
ugh.
like then of course I have to stand still for like 5 minutes until I apply to the next one.
Yeah.
Because the apply doesn't work, right?
Because applying doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then everything is right with the world again. So come Tuesday, you're gonna find me in the corner of a gambit match in Cathedral of Scars or Kel's Grave, just in the fetal position because I can't spam grenades anymore.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna feel real bad when Tuesday rolls around and you're
It's-
running through a Nightfall or just anything in PvE, and you're not gonna have those cooldowns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I
Kill
avoided them.
immediately.
That's why I
There's
avoided
people
them
that's
like
been
the
like,
plague.
just use Nezarec Sin or just use 5
Shut up.
ordnance mods. It's
It's not
not
the
the same.
It's not the same.
They don't load fast enough.
Absolutely
Yeah.
not.
It's not
Faster.
instantaneously in my hand again. There is an issue.
Right, because this is kind of the closest we've been in PvE to the cooldown levels we had for these abilities back in Destiny 1, where it was
Yeah.
like a 20 to 25 second cooldown on your grenade, and that's like if you're not using any other abilities to shorten it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I miss that. I miss that a lot.
It makes you
this
wonder
game.
if they're going to tune it a little bit. If we don't see a little bit of an uptick in grenade cooldown, it
I
does make you
almost wonder. Yeah,
I
I almost
hope
wonder if
so.
this was a test.
To see how it would work. Like see if we okay. So too fast, that's too much. Too
Yeah.
slow. So let's give them a happy
Right.
medium, and they'll be happy with that.
Solstice?
So
Do you think that maybe something like this would pop up around Solstice?
Possibly,
know.
maybe.
Maybe.
I'd be shocked if Bungie allowed this in PvP ever again.
Yeah. I don't
Oh,
think-
yeah, that's not
I
gonna
don't
happen.
think they've learned. They've learned that it's not good for the PvP environment.
Grenades do
Yeah.
too much work in Destiny for it to. If it was a regular frag grenade, or even like the Semtech stickies that didn't have insane aim assist or magnetism,
Yeah.
it'd probably be a different story. But I'll give Bungie credit because I could never think of ways like grenades would work like this. But they just do a lot of work in this game. They chase you. They don't have to be near you for them to hit you.
True.
So I think they just do too much for the PvP community to be satisfied with everybody having grenades all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does make me
No.
wonder, Red Queen, if you've changed any of your raid tactics. Have you memed any bosses? Have you
Mm-mm.
done anything different with the tonics to make it more interesting as we're in the 5th year of Destiny raiding?
The thing about the with the raids and stuff, I guess because we get into a pattern and a habit of doing doing things a certain way that you don't
Right.
even really think about using the grenades.
Yeah.
Because when you go in, you kill, tether, golden gun, like all those things. But I haven't really used, honestly, I just use it in PvP. If you want to know the truth, I really didn't use it in PvE.
It
So
was all I used in PvE.
was
Like,
it?
yeah, I don't play a lot of PvE. I haven't run a Nightfall or a raid in a very long time. But
Mhm.
like I said, when I was doing the forest, or if I was farming, I ended up farming lost sectors just to get the grenade kills done. I mean, that was it. And there was also like a couple of more melees, like throwing knives and whatnot, and
Yeah.
kills with Devour active, that kind of stuff. All of that was it really played a huge part in just getting caught up on simple. Like, I mean, I'm just missing easy 100 and 200 point
Yeah.
triumph score. I think I went up like 2,000 in a matter of a day because I was able to figure the
Oh dang, that's a
stuff
lot.
out
Not
the way. Yeah.
bad.
That's a lot. Talking about the Revelry, when we were farming, so I could see if I could get the ornaments or whatever. I was playing with Miss Sexy Sparkles and Valiant, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna help you guys, but I had been doing something we had been streaming all day. I was so tired. We had raided so much that day, and I told her, I was like, all right, we'll get to the end, we'll get this done. I fell asleep halfway through, and we got to the end of the boss.
I watched this video.
I was asleep, and they didn't get the first boss killed, and the chest opened and it was empty, and she was so mad.
Oh,
And
no.
I was like, I'm so sorry. So she clipped it because I snored. So you can hear her, like, after she goes on this rant about how mad she was for getting a participation chest. You hear me in the corner going,
It is so glorious.
The
it was
actual
bad.
resident sleeper.
It was bad. I'm pretty sure she was mad at me for a day, or she was so hot. She was mad. She was like, you're not my best friend. You're not, my
You're not
best
the
friend."
first person to fall asleep during Verdant Forest, though.
I know, right? I was tired. I was tired.
I still don't understand the reason for doing more than X number of branches. I still don't truly why they made it so that you could. I don't know.
So riddle me this, okay? So let me tell you what someone said to me, and I agreed with them because I thought this would be really cool if Destiny did this. What if you went like or even if you went 10 branches, 5 to 10 branches, right? It was hard. Killed one boss. Another 5 to 10 branches, but it increases like the scale of hardness.
Yeah.
And then you have to go another 5 to 10 branches, but each branch you get something really cool from it. Like it doesn't even have to be like the greatest reward, but just something like that you would listen.
Something themed to it.
Yeah. So if like talking about ornaments, if you told me that I could get an ornament for every boss that I farmed or that I went after, and I was gonna look really cool, and it was something that I was gonna keep, I'd be like, oh, this is happening. I'd farm it on all my characters on all 3 platforms.
Yeah.
So I think if it wasn't a free event, we probably would have seen that.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was completely free, there was no real monetary value tied to it. The other thing is, I completely lost my train of thought. No, I didn't. So we made a comment where you were opening the loot boxes from is it Ava? Is that who it is?
Yeah, from Ava.
Yeah.
And you were getting blues. And I think that was due to the fact that there was no loot pool.
Yeah.
Your loot pool is an armor set.
Yeah.
There's no weapons that were tied to the Revelry. So when your loot pool is so finite to 5 pieces it could possibly ever be, you have to have filler in there. Or else you would have the entire armor set in X number of essence or whatever you want to call it.
And it is a free event, so I didn't think about that either. But, if they wanted to turn it into something cool.
They've given us the framework twice now.
Yeah.
For what we all want out of this game.
Yeah.
With the Haunted Forest and the Verdant Forest, they've given us they've laid the ground, the highway.
Just reintroduce that Haunted Forest as like or a variation of the infinite forest, as how it's been used lately. Just put in the Mercury weapons.
Yep.
Yeah, the prophecy weapons on there. And like put them to use, give them random rolls.
Yeah, those are some of the best weapons
that would
in the
be
game.
so cool.
Like stat wise, those are some of the better guns in the game, and like they're useless because they're stuck in year 1.
Yeah.
Dude, I love the auto rifle, the No Calamity 9.
Yeah.
I think it's a laser beam.
West of Sunfall, I think the hand cannon.
Yeah,
that's what I used to get my Lunas.
The SMG is insane.
Yeah,
there's 2 SMGs. I think there's a kinetic energy. One of them is a laser beam.
Yeah, some of those
I think
prophecy weapons were like best in class when it came to the stats that they were rocking, and like they had an interesting grind behind them back in Curse of Osiris, and it's just a shame that there's no real reason to whip them out now.
It's just weird that they would make a free event a horde mode that the community has clamored for since Destiny came out, and give us paid content, which and this isn't a knock on people who enjoy it, but paid content in the form of an entire season of Gambit.
Yeah.
Which the player base, the vast player base, is not a massive proponent of.
Right.
They'll play it for some of the loot. They'll play it here and there just as another progression. But those people who are passionate about, and believe me, the Gambit community is as passionate about their game as the PvP community is about theirs. But I feel like you're talking about small sectors of the whole entire player base itself.
Yeah. So one thing that I've always said, because I know that you guys have probably been getting asked this question 1,000 times. I get it asked 1,000 times to me all the time, and people are like, "Aren't you getting tired of playing it?" And I'm like, "No." And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I'm not getting tired of playing it. Because this game is by far one of the best games played. Like a game that you play, the characters are beautiful. The game is beautiful. The play style, the feeling of the game is amazing. When I'm playing in raids with my friend, it really it's just an amazing game.
Absolutely.
And when you play it, like name one game that's come close to it. As far as playing it. Yeah.
Final Fantasy 3.
That's what one, and well,
classic.
you got me there. But You know what I'm saying? Like it's a
I'm not going to rip off
phenomenal
20
game.
different
Yeah.
games. I'm going to give you
Right.
like one or two, right?
Yeah,
that
yeah.
are going to compare with this.
Yeah.
Um,
But it's just it's a good game. Like it's a really good game and it feels good. And when you play it, the characters, they feel good. The movement feels good.
Yeah.
You know? And sometimes the guns aren't what we want them to be and then sometimes they are what we want them to be and sometimes they get it exactly right and sometimes they don't. But at the end of the day, I'm one of those people, and I know there's a lot of other people who are different. They want the gameplay for the hardcore gameplay. They want the loot. They want all this. They want everything. Like my husband, he's a perfectionist. He loves to do all of his triumphs. He loves to have the best weapons. He loves to be good at the game. Me, I'm over here like I just enjoy playing. Like I enjoy playing with people, and it just feels like sometimes it feels like you're almost inside the game and you're playing and you're with your friends and you're doing all these crazy things. So that's one of the things that I love about the game. So I'm not tired of playing it. Do I wish for more content? Of course we do. We all do. Everybody wants new stuff.
Absolutely.
Everybody wants new stuff all the time. You know, but I'm a slower player than the rest of people and it takes me more time to get through the content. So
I have this in Destiny's one of the first games in a long time that made me have a desire to improve as a player. You know, it's very few games I'm going to go in and play. I'm not going to go in and play Division and be like, man, I got to be able to outthink, outdo, out whatever this certain engagement. You know what I mean? Destiny is that one game where some of the players who play this game are on another level in terms of PvP wise. They are just supercomputers. They analyze data. They see frames my eyes don't see. So my driving force for logging in every day is a significant opportunity to become a better player that I feel like I can be. I haven't yet reached my ceiling, and I don't think a lot of the people out there have reached theirs either. I don't know how much of a desire there is for others to improve though. Like, and it's so weird because I was such a raid sweat in D1. Like I was such a vault of glass animal. Like all I wanted to do was run vault. I don't care if I got gear or not. I just loved being in the vault of glass. I have yet to have a raid as a broadcaster and as a member of the Twitch community that I want to just live in the entire time. I've yet to have that happen. And that's not a knock on the raids. I think Last Wish is gorgeous. And honestly, I'm a huge fan of Spire of Stars.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Big time fan of that raid.
Either.
That game, that raid can suck my big toe.
That's such a raid.
Hassle.
Teaching that raid is
That's an
a
expression.
nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see how teaching that would be a nightmare because there's so many moving parts and so many different pieces that have to occur. I don't do what you do. I could never teach somebody something because I'd be like, go over there and don't die. Like, that would be me as a Sherpa. Like that's how it would work. Like
That's about as far as we go.
Yo,
you know, it takes something to teach. I don't have it.
There's some times where I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful that I have the Sherpas who help me because there's sometimes like you get all kinds of different players. You get really, really good players. You get players who are brand new starting out. You get people who are easy to talk to. You get people who don't like to talk. And then you get people who think they know everything and you're an idiot. You know what I'm saying? And when you get those kind of people, there's times where I'm just like messaging Mulder and I'm like, never again. My whole like inner monster, I'm trying to hold it back from stream. And of course the mods are like, she's about to pop.
I respect the hell out of people who can take people into raids and teach them for the first time because I just can't. I used to.
You have to have a lot of patience.
Yeah,
it's not a frustration thing on my end. It's that I don't think I have the tools necessary to actually teach. It's not like I don't have time for you, bro. You know what you're doing. So I'm so good. Like that's not what I'm trying to say. I don't have the tools necessary to actually teach or explain things because I get lost in my own explanation sometimes.
Yeah.
So
usually
that's how I started in Planet Destiny is taking people through raids and stuff like that. Bad experiences eventually just kind of like deterred me away from that. And I was like, well, you know, it's certainly like not fun to see, you know, people like get trolled in the middle of a Sherpa run. So that
I've gotten smart. I choose the Sherpas who I know have done the raids a lot. and then I will go on the person who hasn't done it a lot or the person who has never done it. So, because the thing about it is when you do a raid, when you bring someone for their first time through the raid, you don't want to make it awful for them. You want to make it
Of
fun.
course, you want it to be a
to make it a
positive
good
experience.
experience, and you want them to be like, "Oh my god, I want to do it again." You don't want them walking away going, "I'm never doing this again." I've been kicked from so many LFG raid teams because I would mess up, or because I would try to say, "Hey, maybe we should do it like this," and they'd be like, "You get out." You know, and I'm like, I'm never doing this again. So when people tell me, hey, you should try it like this, I listen, because I used to be that person that used to get kicked all the time because I'd be like, hey, you do it like this, and they'd be like, no, get out, you don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
And then I'd go and find another team and we'd do it exactly like, you know, like we were talking about. So I just feel like and I'm a troll. I am a troll. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, if you come play with me, you're probably gonna have a little bit of a time because I'm gonna mess with you a little bit, but I don't do it to the point to where it pisses you off and makes you not want to come back. So, you know, but I do troll a lot. Yeah.
I mean that's a part of the raid Sherpa experience, right, Nem? The young sabotage every now and again. You know, every now and again you gotta sleeper yourself against an oracle.
Oh my word, dude!
It's just gotta happen.
Don't even get me started on killing yourself with a sleeper.
Oh my god! I need to dig up that clip at some point again because that was.
I have at least 20 clips of me killing myself, whether
just
inside
a prank,
a bubble, inside from the oracle, from ricochets off the ceiling.
Yeah.
I've been killed by that thing. I think I killed myself in PvP with it.
Yeah,
honestly.
Probably.
Oh snap! My favorite thing is telling them that there's a chest there, and like, I'll be like, "Hey, there's a chest right down there. You're gonna jump right over here on this edge, and you're gonna go right straight down, and you're just gonna glide yourself down." And then they died. I'm like, "You didn't do it right. You have to go back around, and just go back." Yep. And then after about the third time, they're like, "Are you messing with me?
What's going on?
I'm not seeing it. What's going on?"
I think the best part about that is if they're a warlock, you can just like see them floofing down and turning everywhere, slowly, just confused as hell as they slowly fall to their death. It's pretty hilarious.
Or I'll pop the eye. Like, I'll try to teach them how to do a melting point at Riven, and I'll like, shoot the eye or something. And I'm like,
"What'd you do?
What'd you do?
Why'd you cause us to wait?"
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
Or if they're new to the raid and we're at the vault and we do animal call outs and like, you know, fire like a dead dragon, I'll be like, rah! And they're like,
what does that mean? What do you mean?
I mean, you make it fun. After you do so many runs, it gets repetitive.
Yeah.
So you have to do something to.
You gotta do something different.
Make it different.
I think that's part of the fun. I when I used to do raid Sherpas for Planet Destiny on Twitch, we used to do on Thursdays just weird, crazy runs. Like I remember one where we had everybody put on a mask from Festival of the Lost, and we beat raids as raid bosses.
Yeah,
and SRL armor raid runs and stuff like that. It's a fun time going through and taking somebody through their first experience, and I definitely 100% identify with you. You want to make that first experience a positive one for them, so that they get an idea for what's going on. They get to enjoy the encounter, not feel like they've got too much pressure on them to get every little thing right.
Right.
And you want them to walk out of that saying, "Man, I want to run that again. Like I want to do that again." And I can always remember the absolute best moments would be when we got somebody through. And I always think of some Vaults of Glass runs we did with people. We got some people through. They get their stuff, and they're like, "Man, I want to run that again. And this time, can I take the relic?" And it's like, that's
what you want them to do.
Right there. That's what you want.
You know, I got some people from my channel that they started out with me, and it was their very first time. After their 10th time, they were doing everything.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's what you want them to do. You want them to learn. You know, you want to teach them different ways. And so I learned, and the way I learned is by watching other Sherpas that did it, and had them explain to me or take me through. You know, but you definitely want them to have a good experience, because you don't want someone who has maybe had a bad day and you were their one interaction with their favorite game, and have it be a crappy time for them, because
Thanks, I hate it.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for making me hate the game.
Yeah.
Never again. Never doing this again. Thanks, guys.
Never doing this again.
Which is why I would never recommend Spire of Stars be anybody's first raid experience.
Yeah.
No.
Miss me with that.
No. And always ask ahead of time what raid they want to do, because I've learned that the hard way. Like yesterday, this guy was like, hey, I need you to take me through a raid and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, I can do this. So I offered him, actually, I think he was tagged on Twitter with me. And I was like, sure, I can help you. So I get him in there yesterday. I'm like, okay, I'm so excited. What are we doing? Last wish or scourge? He goes, Prestige Leviathan. I was like,
All
am I
right.
being punked? Am I being punked right now? And he was like, no, I need it for my triumph. And I was like, oh. So we did it, but I've learned ask first.
Yeah.
You didn't fall asleep during that, though, did you?
No. I was
It's
good
easy
on
to
that
fall
one.
asleep to a Prestige Leviathan.
I was good on that one. That was good. But you know, I'm just happy to help.
Yeah, and that's good. That's what it's all about there, just helping people get through the content. Because we were talking a bit about this before the show, like player usage numbers for activities and whatnot. And some of the numbers were like, what, 7% of the population has generally completed a raid?
Yeah. It's
And
very small.
Yeah.
It's a
Which is
very
sad.
small percentage of the player base out there.
It's
Actually,
28% running patrols.
Hey man,
Yes.
patrols
Yeah.
are where it's at, baby.
5%
Then
of
all
those
they do
people who ran raids also ran with rocks. Just gonna say.
You mean we're dragged through with rocks? We're dragged through kicking and screaming with rocks. That's all that man does. I swear, just day in and day out. Love you, buddy.
Yeah.
But the topic of raids here is an interesting one because, of course, we're on the cusp of a whole new bit of annual pass content. The season of Opulence is getting ready to drop in less than a month now, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with that, of course, we're getting a brand new raid.
Yeah.
And
I'm so
we don't
excited.
really know what else.
I know.
What was it like?
know.
Hold on. There was talk amongst yourselves. I gotta find something real quick.
Right. I mean,
So you
He's
made a
the
good point
Clint.
because we the rate we know we're getting it, but
Yeah.
but you know how like normally like you see the hype coming out or you see a little bit of the teasers coming out.
Yep.
We're almost a month to it, and you're like, what do you
Well,
got?
This
So-
season was the same, right? We didn't see anything out of Season of the Drifter leading up until.
True.
well, no, because we knew that we had exotic quests coming.
Yeah.
We knew that we were getting a game mode and stuff like that. I think the only thing we know about Season of Opulence is that we've got some 6-person game mode coming and a new raid.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
literally it.
Yeah.
They're being sneaky.
Because they're
Yeah.
all they have in their if you go to destinythegame.com/annual pass, it details you new 6-player matchmade activity, which is interesting. I mean, I don't think we've had a random like 6-player match made activity before.
Yeah.
No.
Out
We've
of nowhere.
certainly gone around the network in the past to get 9 people into an escalation protocol instance, but never nothing like
Right.
set in stone that it was like, hey, 6 people match made. Match made. I just still a match made. New quests to complete, weapon and gear, of course, new raid, and all the other good stuff. So that's as far as we know of Opulence.
Yeah, and
So,
what is it?
750 power level comes. New
Yeah.
raid activities come with it. Only way to get to 750 is to complete the raid.
Or Iron Banner.
I'm behind it. I like that idea. Let's make that a reality.
I'd be okay with
please.
Let's make that a reality.
I'd actually be okay with that.
I'm in it, dude. That's how D1 year 1 was. I'm all about that.
You do the raid to get the power.
Yep.
That's the truth.
This was actually a topic of conversation on Fireteam Chat this week. They brought up the notion of it being relatively easy to get to max power in Destiny 2. You can just, rather than going and running a raid, you can just go, do quick play for a couple of weeks and bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah.
So the stats that we're looking at, which was a tweet by Potato from Bomb Squad Kittens, he took a snapshot from warmind.io
Right.
and showed the stats of what people were playing in a 3-hour window. Raids are at 7%, patrols at 28%. That's talking about a Chief Pinnacle, the flagship of Destiny activity, which is a raid.
Right.
Granted, we didn't get one this season, but still. And you've got patrol dominating, do you think you would see those stats kind of start to tip in the favor of raids if the only way to acquire endgame power level is by doing them?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
this is again
100%.
Possibly.
this is again a conversation that we've had previously where it's like end game in Destiny doesn't really matter unless you're going for specific
Right.
It
weapons.
doesn't really exist either.
I
No.
tripped and fell
Outside of
into 700
numerical,
last week.
statistical.
Exactly. Like endgame in Destiny right now, it personally to me feels like an arbitrary number because you don't really need to be power level 700 for anything.
Right.
Like maybe to get into the reckoning to just kind of like not die. But like I don't feel like a Nightfall is endgame anymore.
Nope.
No.
I don't
Oh,
feel
it
like
hasn't been. Nightfalls haven't been endgame in years.
yeah,
Nightfalls
and
haven't
in
been-
Destiny 1 Nightfall
That was
was
the end-all,
like
be-all, man.
your introduction to like endgame
Yeah.
because that's where you got like your
you
powerful
got your
stuff,
good
maybe
good loot from
exotic.
Nightfalls and Destiny 1.
Yeah, and just right now raids don't feel like endgame to me,
No.
and that kind of sucks because
Yeah.
coming from like an almost an MMORPG-esque background,
Hmm.
I miss that aspect in Destiny.
Right.
I do too. I miss the Nightfalls. I miss them. I miss
Yeah.
that. I miss
That
that. If you
Mess
didn't
up and you
do
go
it,
to orbit.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
gone.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
and everybody tells me now, oh, you can set it that way. I got that. I got that you can set it, but I'm just lazy. I don't
Well-
want to have to go in and reset it. I want it to be to where I don't have a choice.
It's not the same when it's static. When it's static and you know it, there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
That's when it's I've been kicked to orbit out of a Nightfall. I've been kicked to orbit on a boss phase when the boss was like, less than a third health left. I think we all have at some point if we played D1 year 1, and I think that was a fact for I don't remember a lot about year 3. But the modifier system, albeit useful and helpful for jumping up on your scores and whatnot, the Nightfalls were supposed to be that you're gonna get your ass kicked, but
Yeah.
we're gonna make it worth your while.
Yeah,
And now you decide if you want to get your ass kicked,
and how
Yeah.
much of it?
how much of your ass is going to get kicked, and is it even really worth
It's
your
never
while
worth your while.
when your max weapon is a sidearm and you get another sidearm? It's the same slot, the same power level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that happened in Destiny 1 too, but every prime engram I
Yeah.
turned in today was a friggin' sidearm. So
When I used to do the Nightfalls from D1, and so I had never done one when I started playing it, and I had two people. They were like, "Okay, we're gonna take you through the Nightfall, but it's gonna be really hard. So you're gonna have to like really listen to us. Take your time. Do not rush it." And we went through it, and I got the Galahorn, and they kicked me, and I was like, "But I got the Galahorn."
Yeah, there you go. You got
the
you wanted it.
Galahorn.
You walked
But
out
I
of
got
there
the
with the
Galahorn.
good
Yeah.
stuff.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, and we
Yeah.
struggled. We went to orbit 3 times,
Yeah.
struggling, trying to figure out how to stay alive.
That's
How to
and I
keep
feel
moving.
like that level of difficulty
Mm-hmm.
is what really made the Nightfall stand out
Mhm.
back then because
Did.
you had to play carefully. It was incredibly rough, but hey, the chances of you walking out of there with an exotic, which didn't drop from patrols or the end of the
Anywhere
Crucible
else,
match
yeah.
or anywhere else except for a Nightfall or a raid, that was the incentive. That was the carrot on the
chase.
Yeah.
stick to want to do that. So and that's been lacking for a really really long time
Yeah.
in Destiny.
So
And I would-
It's just-
Go ahead, Dan.
So if we move forward into Season of Opulence, they're adding a new dungeon, correct? A new 6-man
Maybe.
activity.
We don't-
Yeah.
We don't know if there's a dungeon upcoming.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing some conversation in chat where people are like, "Well, it's hard to get 6 people together. If you if you take Nightfalls and you make them meaningful again to the point where 3 people go in, you get in-game content. 3 people go in for dungeons, you get in-game content. Maybe like a little bit more of a bump. You go on raids with 6 people, you get more of a bump than if you do in the dungeons. I
Right.
feel like that's fair comparative to what we have right now. where everybody gets a T-shirt.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
You
gonna
know,
yeah.
Go on.
No, I was gonna say like. LFG is not the favorite person, no, not the favorite place in the whole wide world to
Right.
to get
Yeah.
find a raid team. But let me tell you something. On D1, it was my best friend. I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many times I went through those LFG posts. I joined. It may have fell apart. I waited, and I did it. And then the next people who came in, we did it. We did the raid. You know. So, but I also made a lot of friends out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also kept a lot of friends where we're like, okay, we're a good raid team. Let's stay together. Two of them,
Yeah.
which I'm still friends with today, Miss Sexy Sparkles and Newberry. You know what I mean? You have to. I mean, you when you queue up for patrol, are you gonna or for a strike? Are you gonna get a good blueberry? Or are you gonna get a bad blueberry?
Yeah.
It's kind of a toss up.
Yeah.
You know, you get
Depending
that
on
on
what you're
LFG.
working on, you might want a bad blueberry if you're trying to get 10 kills and strikes. I'll take a bad blueberry every day.
If you want kills,
Absolutely.
if you're trying to kill Taken, you want a bad blueberry that stays back there behind you. But I mean, it's just one of those things. Like it's a gamble that you have to take. So I did it, you know, and I made
Yeah.
it, you know, and it was hard because I wasn't a great player then.
Yeah.
And
No, I mean, I totally understand that there's a social anxiety aspect of going into LFG into
Mhm.
it. Because I had to rely a lot on LFG during the King's Fall and like Wrath of the Machine time.
Mhm.
Right.
Because at that point, most of the people that started playing Destiny or I started playing Destiny with had like moved on to other games. So I had to like bite my tongue. I'm like, hey, God, if I
Yeah.
want to raid, I'm gonna fucking have to go to LFG.
Mhm.
And don't get me wrong, I had a lot of instances where the moment somebody opened their mouth and I was like, well, I'm out.
Yeah.
Because it's just it's I mean, on it, like what are they gonna do?
Yeah.
Like if you're gone, you're gone. Just
Yeah.
look for another instance there.
I
But
think
no, if I landed on a solid like LFG team, it's like, hey, this was fast. Y'all want to do it another 3 times and
Yeah.
get together next week and do it again?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's fucking go. And I think I had more positive experiences than negative for sure with LFG.
Well, LFG, yeah. I think it's just all about who you get at the moment. Don't get it twisted. I've left raids too before because I've been like, oh no, I can't play with these dudes.
Not worth my
you
time.
know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's like you have no obligation and to stay
you
with
don't have to
that group.
stay.
There's a bunch of other people looking to take people
Mhm.
through raids and whatnot. And if you don't like the way somebody talks or if they're using like some some gnarly ass language,
Yeah.
it's like, all right, well, I'm out. Just
Yeah.
leave the party and leave the fire team.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, ultimately speaking, here we understand why Bungie moved away from tying that in-game power level to activities like raids and whatnot. We understand why they because people weren't playing. Even in
Right.
Destiny 1, the majority of the population wasn't playing in raids. So they wanted to have an avenue for people to get to max level without having to do that content. And I think for the most part that's okay. I don't think it should be as free as it is right now, where you just go run a public event and bada bing, bada boom, you're 700.
Well,
Yeah.
Play quick play forever. But
Well-
I think the other problem here, because right now power level's worthless. It's for the
Right.
most part worthless. It's just a number you're
Mhm.
chasing.
That's true.
I think one of the bigger reasons for a lack of interest in raids, more so than just power level being tied to it, is that the rewards just aren't
They're not that
really
great.
worth going for.
Yeah.
So
They're not.
couple
Yeah.
things. If the max power level 750, the only way to get there is raids or a Nightfall being reborn or some form of endgame PvP. Let's say all this other stuff gets you to 740,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're 10. The worst you could possibly be is 10 below.
that's
Right.
perfectly fine.
And
I
at the
agree.
current delta, that's not going to make that big of a difference for all the players who are going to say, "What about me? I'm a solo player. We need a
Right.
path to endgame too." I'm going to say, if the endgame activity is 750 and you have no reason to ever be 750, you don't need to be 750 kind of thing. If you're never going to be involved in that environment, then there's not really a reason for you to pursue it.
Yeah.
In other words, but in terms of rewards, Last Wish had quite a few really good rewards tied to it. We talked about the Chattering Bone with RedQueen, one of her favorite weapons. before we got started. A very good pulse rifle. The Nation of Beasts is considered to be a Fatebringer reborn.
Right.
It's a fake bringer.
1,000 voices. Hello. Like,
Yeah.
so there are, I mean, I've done Scourge of the Past 2 times. I don't know if there's, I think the threat level was like one of the big,
literally the only thing.
I heard the fusion rifle's pretty good. People have said that the fusion rifle and it's pretty decent.
Are you taking off your air until for
Never.
The only time I ever use any of those,
I have it. It's no, you're good, Dean.
I don't like it. The threat level was about it. I don't even like the anarchy. The only time I use the anarchy is to stick Callie. That's it.
Yeah.
So I think that people might have a case in point when it comes to Scourge of the Past. I don't really recall anything coming out of Spire of Stars other than the catalyst for the Sleeper. And Eater of Worlds.
Prestige.
I don't recall Eater of Worlds having anything specific in terms of weapons. I just don't remember, honestly.
It was as far as weapons, it was weapons that were not in Leviathan. Just with Eater of Worlds as well.
Oh, so it was like Leviathan weapons. They were gold and whatnot, like the gold and white, but they were not.
So Leviathan introduced like a certain number of weapons, but it didn't have a shotgun or a fusion rifle or a sidearm.
Yeah,
those were introduced in Eater of Worlds and in Spire of Stars.
So I'm going to go all the way back to Leviathan. I'm going to talk about the Midnight Coup, which was a dominant weapon for a year,
a long time.
Not
still is good.
Still is good. Yeah.
So there are. But we have this image built up in our heads of the first raid Bungie ever did, or Bungie ever gave us, which was Vault of Glass, which hit us with every good weapon that could have ever possibly existed all of one shot. Pretty damn high bar to live up to. Okay, Fatebringer, Vision of Confluence, Hezin's Vengeance. I can't think of the name of the light machine gun that was absurd.
Corrective measure.
Like, so, I mean, at the time, the Hezin's Vengeance was the only rocket launcher that would hold 3 rockets at the same time.
Yeah.
The only one that would do that. So again, might be an afterthought now, but at the time that was pretty wild to have. So I don't know if it's fair for us to keep that as the bar that we rate raid rewards by at this point.
I think it absolutely is. It's the only bar we have. The only thing we can compare Bungie raids to is other Bungie
their
raids.
own raids.
I don't think that's out of the question at all. And I'm not saying that
4 years ago.
I'm not saying that the stuff from 4 or 5 years ago, that the things we're getting now should be as good as Vault of Glass stuff. But when you look at loadouts that are being used in the game right now, how much of it is raid gear?
I think it depends on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different areas to be in. I mean, I was playing with a guy who was using 1K voices in PvP today, for example.
Does it outnumber that?
Even at that, though, like it's looking at the raid weapons as a whole, like there's nothing really that stands out of them. I think
the only raid weapon I still use is Midnight Q, and that's just when I'm not using Service Revolver.
But you made a good point, Or, because when they had Vault of Glass, like the guns that they had there, I used all of them except for the Fatebringer because I can't use hand cannons because I'm terrible with it. But I love the Vexsmith class. I love the Fatebringer. Yeah. I love all of those weapons, and I played with them for a long, long time.
They were ridiculously powerful.
I mean, the thing about Nightfall is when you saw that burn, you were like, "All right, I'm bringing, I'm bringing Fatebringer, or I'm bringing Vision of Confluence." And Void was kind of like whatever, but you knew automatically what weapon you were going to be bringing with you into that engagement. And I don't think that we have. It's almost like now we can design the encounters around the weapon that we want to use versus. You know what I mean? Like I can shape a Nightfall. I can wait for the burns on a strike to fit the way I like to play versus going and doing them that day, given whatever Bungie's going to tell me. So I get where you're coming from with that. And like, I mean, I agree. I just feel like it's so difficult right now to design a new weapon and new perk systems that are going to be different from what we've already seen and be that game breaking. Like what's going to make a hand cannon be stand out? Like having a 15 or 18 round clip.
Yeah.
Like for like, what is it really that's going to, I don't know.
But I mean, I think that falls into place where how they've designed the current raid weapons and the armors as well, where like there's nothing really that stands out on them when it comes to using them in raids. So for example, like if you look at Praetorian Foil, like it did additional damages to like Oracles. And Vex in Vault of Glass. And none of these weapons in Destiny 2, when it comes to like the raids, they don't have raid perks anymore. And
that's true.
You know, like you were talking about setting your loadout to like specific things, or strikes and nightfalls. And I mean, in Destiny 1, that's how the way it worked. If I was going to go run Vault of Glass, and we come to the Oracle part, I'm slapping on Corrective Measure and Praetorian Foil.
Right.
If when we get to Atheon, especially during like the challenge version of Atheon, Atheon's Epilogue, or Atheon's Epilogue, was my go-to primary for that because it did additional damage to oracles. But right now, the weapons don't have that particular like standout perks that makes them worthwhile using anymore. Is where I think TBL was coming from. Even in their own activity, you're not using a raid weapon really. Like you're using Prospector to kill Riven nowadays.
Yeah.
That's true.
Memeing
Prospector, all of that. The one thing that I think is funny, the one gun that I fell in love with was the Chattering Bone from The Last Wish. And I use that gun all the time, PvP and PvE. This was the first gun in D2 that I found that I could use them both. You know what I'm saying? For myself. Now, I'm not saying that I can't. I'm a terrible hand cannon person. So whenever Bungie comes out and they're like, oh, we got a new hand cannon exotic quest, I'm like, I want a pulse rifle, or I want something else. Like, that's just me talking because I don't use hand cannons. But when I found this Chattering Bone, I was like, oh my god, I love this gun. It is amazing. So I mean, you still find diamonds in the roughs and stuff, but I do miss the. I don't think anything's ever gonna. I mean, honestly, you could give me whatever you want, but I think I just hold the Vault of Glass weapons in such a big, like, part of
they
my
were
heart.
fantastically designed weapons.
You always remember your first time.
Like, they were like the best.
I feel like because there's so many different areas and so many different loot pools, it's hard to have that same connection. I truly do feel, and it just might be nostalgia, but I felt like there wasn't as many weapons in D1 as there are currently in D2, where you have an entire Gambit loot pool, you have a Crucible loot pool, you have the Dreaming Cities loot pool, you have the Raid loot pool, you have just the tower vendors and the existing planetary vendors with their loot pool. You have the gunsmith who has his own. There's probably even ones I'm forgetting.
Yeah, but 60% of that loot pool has not changed since Destiny released.
Listen, and trust me, we know.
And 60% of that loot pool is stuck in year 1, so you're not going to be using that anytime soon.
I don't know. Every now and then, the old fashioned isn't a bad gun to pull out of collections. Every
now and then, that's like in PvP where like not a lot of like that stuff is going to affect it. You know what I mean? Like armor sets, you can't really use that outside of just maybe wear it in the tower.
Yeah, you can't use armor sets from year 1 at all.
No.
Well, except for the revamped Leviathan ones where, they did go back and add those specific mods to them that give you all kinds of crazy, wacky powers.
So you can use certain armor pieces for something. I had a Titan. I believe I told you this week, Nim, where I had a Titan that was sub 600. And I just kept buying the Solstice armor.
Over and
over again, and just brought it up to like, I want to say it was like around 670 that like my character dropped off at.
What?
Or like, yeah, because I had 700 weapons on him because I transferred that over from my other characters.
Yeah.
And just kept buying the armor and just kept rolling it over and over and over again. It was awesome. It was really cool.
That's smart.
Interesting.
Holy. I wasted so much gear this week leveling up my Titan and my Hunter.
I was like, I'm gonna go do those bounties to get him up to 640, and then I was like, wait, hold
on.
What?
Hold on.
How?
Let me do
What?
this.
It's awesome.
Let me do this real fast.
It's great.
Huh. I wish I had thought of that. I feel like I wasted a lot of time.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Destiny, because it's a first person shooter, and a lot of people, like see that as a way. It's like, hey, I can do stuff on my own. Makes the MMO-esque part of the game suffer immensely, because that's.
Yeah.
I mean, I at least I think that's one of the reasons why there's technically no end game, because there's people that, I don't mean to sound like an asshole.
And that's how you know it's going to sound like an asshole when it comes.
Yeah, 100%. I'm very self-aware, Aura. But like, I understand again that there's people that have limited amount of time, and they can have certain hours of playtime. But I feel like in a game of this scope, where there's end game activities, you do have to like put out the effort to like find people to do stuff with.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's just
Yeah.
on par with an MMO-esque game, and that's what Destiny at its core is. And all of that stuff has been ultimately been watered down so people can reach a power level that has ultimately become arbitrary to have.
Yeah.
Right.
Isn't that kind of ironic, because like at the beginning of D2 they're like, we want to make this game more social, and so they added a whole bunch of clan stuff so that
you don't even need to run people like stuff with.
Yeah.
It's just given to
That's
you.
true.
Log in and get your
Just
free
give it to
rave
you.
rewards.
I agree.
My thing about the solo player who's might not have access to full, and with this, by the way, everybody who's listening, this is arbitrary opinion. We have no evidence that 750 is going to be the end game level, and that raids are going to be the only way to get it. This is all only for conversation. If anybody's getting confused out there, this is purely for conversation. That said, it's not a race.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you have an entire season to acquire it, to get to that level, I kind of like, at some point, maybe you could be like, oh, there's a dude and he's being really good with this public event. Maybe he'll help me with.
Right.
There's Discord servers. We talked about LFG earlier. LFG has evolved so much over the past couple of years. There are hundreds of Discord servers to join in order to acquire endgame activities. There are tons of broadcasters who are approachable. One of them is on the show right now, who is absolutely willing to help you get that done. There's the 100.io, which is a bit more of a professional LFG site. Might not be as toxic as regular LFG. Bungie has their own forums on their websites. So like, there's resources out there for players, and part of me is like, if you're not motivated enough to even attempt to go get it, why do you deserve it?
Yeah. I agree.
Work for it.
I agree with that. And like you talking about, like, so in my Discord, I created an LFG for PS4, Xbox, and PC, and let me tell you why. Because people come into channel and they're like, "Can you help me? Can you help me with this? Can you help me with that?" And I was thinking to myself, that really sucks, because there's a lot of people who do really need help. And yeah, like I could have been like this. I could have been like, "Oh my god, stop asking me to help you. Don't post it in the channel." Instead, I'm like, "Hey, let me direct you to here, and let me get you to go here and do this." And the reason that I did that is because I used to be one of those people. Like when I first went on Twitch, I hunted for people to play with. I hunted to find friends, and I did it on LFG and stuff. So when I did it like that, I wanted to do it. I wanted it to build for that reason, so that you could find people easy, and you didn't have to say, "I don't have anybody to play with." Well, now you do.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
and I'm not the only one that does that. Aura has you all have Discords, like everybody has Discords that has LFG in there. And it's a great thing to do. If you can't find people in one Discord, go to another. I do it.
There's definitely there's definitely so many different avenues that people can play in a safe environment, without having to, like, if they don't want to go to like an LFG website or something like that. There's so many communities in Discord that will gladly help people out and teach them.
When I first started playing this game, I didn't have a clan that I would play with. I didn't know about FG. until much later in the game, into like King's Fall days, and my LFG was reaching out to people in the tower, you know.
Yeah.
And like this game, it's built to create community. It's built for friendship and to play with people. And I don't know. I feel, I don't know. I think you're cheating yourself if you don't reach out.
Right, because that is the biggest bit of content in the game. Like the raid experience is the pinnacle work that Bungie's put into this game. It's the big thing that really everybody should experience, and it's kind of tragic that such a small percentage of the player base does experience what the raids are like. And I think that's probably a real dilemma for Bungie, for the developers out there, because I know they wanna expand the raid experience, which is why they've played around with the whole guided games thing. They've shied away from matchmaking for raids, and I don't know if they'll ever actually get into full matchmaking for raids. I mean, it works in other MMOs, but I don't know how well it would work with think of a raid like Spire of Stars with matchmaking and certain people who aren't going to use mics and stuff like that.
They can't have mics and they can't talk, and
it'd be a nightmare.
That's a good point, because when I have people who come into the stream and they're like, hey, I've never done a raid before, but I'm 699, you know, or I'm 650, and you're like, oh my god, how have you not done a raid? And then when I saw some of the statistics that we're looking at today, it kind of breaks my heart, because I feel like people are missing out on something beautiful.
It's cool stuff.
It's amazing, and it's fun, and it's addictive, and at the end of the day, it hurts my heart, because I feel like they're missing out on making friends too. You know, and that's what I used to crave when I went to LFG. That's what I used to crave. I used to crave to have friends to play with. I would see all these other people partying up and going and doing raids and stuff, and I was like, man, I really want that. You know, and that's part of the reason why I started streaming, was because I wanted to make friends, and I made a lot of them. But you know, I want other people to make friends too, and it's hard, and I understand people work. I understand people have lives outside of the games. I get that, you know. I get that. It's hard. But I don't think there's really a correct answer for it, because you're not ever going to please everybody. And you're not ever going to be able to help everybody either. So
yeah, absolutely. And you know, that's certain the dilemma that I think Bungie faces there is they look at all the stats and the numbers, and they know that a lot of their players aren't going to be able to play raids, or just won't play raids. And I think that's why ultimately they kind of divorced reaching max power level from those activities and made it a lot wider. And I think there's merit to that. You know, there is merit to that. And if they were to ever make a change in the future, I think making the raids more worthwhile to run with better rewards is definitely the right way to go. And I wouldn't be mad if they locked in-game power level, like we said here, maybe you can get to 740 with your flashpoint and stuff like that for the week. But locking gear that can get you to 750 behind maybe an increased difficulty Nightfall.
A soft cap.
Raid. And Nightfall, raid, and whatever PvP event they've got going on. So if like Trials were to come back in some form, or Iron Banner, which is a once-a-month thing. I mean, shoot. Back in year 1 of D1, that's how I got to level 30. That's how I escaped the Forever 29 meme. I raided plenty. But it was Iron Banner that saved me and got me that last bit of 30 gear that I needed to get to level 30. And I think it's perfectly fine for there to be at least limited outlets outside of the raid activity to get you there. Like, you need to work for it. More so than what what you have to do right now to get to 700. But
my characters aren't. I don't have 3 characters at 700 right now.
I don't either.
Neither do I. Only got 1.
It doesn't matter. I got 700 from playing quick play and getting prime engrams on my hunter. Was how I went from like 680 to 700 by doing that, because there's no reason. Like, I don't play Reckoning, which is the only true endgame
that requires
player that requires power level that is actually scaled to power level right now, right?
690,
So
that and Iron Banner,
Iron Banner. So I'm hoping Opulence brings with it activities where power level matters. That's worth like grinding for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, that's why I think Iron Banner would still be a good outlet for that kind of thing, because it is it plays like an in-game
Buff,
PvP
man.
game mode,
Yeah.
Well,
Did
it's
you-
skill-based matchmaking enabled.
Mm-hmm.
very heavily enabled.
And you mentioned Charles. Like I in D1. So or you said you used to raid, right? You used to raid all the time in D1.
All the time in D1.
I played trials all the time in D1. So I made the
I did
flip
that too.
from away from trials, and I came to raids in D2. But I miss the gear. Like if Trials was to come back out now, and they had some beautiful gear. Let's be honest.
They really
Trials
did.
had some
Yeah.
dang good gear. And when you went in there and you saw it, you got the gear on your hunter or your warlock or whatever you got it on, you were like, my character looks good.
Or if you saw
know?
somebody with that armor, you were like, all right, I
Yeah.
see you. You know?
Yeah, I see you over there looking good.
Mhm.
You know,
Gotcha.
I miss that too. So I mean, it's just I'm excited to see where the game is gonna go, and I
Same.
really hope that Charles does come back around, even if they call it something different. You know, so and we get the same kind of looks and gear. Not it doesn't have to be the same, but like make it flashy and beautiful and like dang, he looks good, you know,
Right.
and that character looks amazing in that gear. So that's the gear too. The gear has been it's okay for me, but like right now, if you were to ask me what my favorite gear was, and I'm probably gonna get like really in trouble for this, but it's still Leviathan gear.
Mm-hmm.
I still like the Leviathan gear better.
Yeah.
I didn't care for Scourge's gear. I
Leader
didn't
of
care
Worlds
for
gear was atrocious.
I didn't like
Yes,
I
Iron
don't really,
Leader of Worlds were awful.
I just and it's not that I'm bashing it. It's just that I miss that look
Yeah.
of where once you got that gear on your Guardian, you were like, I felt accomplished, and
Yep.
and I knew my Guardian looked good.
That was Chatterwhite and
Yeah.
Glowhill.
That was Shadow
Yeah.
White and
Chatterwhite
Glowhill.
and Glowhill
Yeah.
was, you know, when you went to the tower and people saw you with that shader on there, and you got the messages being like, "Yo, congratulations,
Where'd you
you're
get that
awesome,
from?"
yo, what happened?" You know, like those are those moments that don't happen anymore. And
Yeah.
as a part of that, we talk about this on the show pretty often, right, Queen? But there are so many ghost shells, there are so many ships,
Mhm.
there are so many sparrows, there are so many shaders. There's other cosmetics I forgot even existed, like ornaments, that the design team is really spread pretty thin across
Right.
things that people might not really care all that much about.
Right.
So I think part of the reason why you see a downward spiral, and I'm going to call it that,
Mhm.
in armor aesthetics,
Yeah.
is because the art team is working on. I mean, I looked at a couple of the sparrows just today out of because I never look at them, and they're gorgeous.
Instantly deletes.
Well, and I instantly delete them.
Yeah.
But they are beautiful.
Yeah.
They are beautiful.
Yeah.
But it feels like that's where a lot of that resource has gone to.
Mhm.
I haven't like even with like the ornamented well, not even ornamented, the prestige Leviathan gear with like the glowy bits.
Yep.
I felt no connection to
None.
any of the raid sets in Destiny 2. Like none of them like spoke out to me. It's like, hey, like I'm gonna wear this and I'm gonna show it off, because to me, I don't know, it didn't have the same level of visual pop that like the D1 stuff did.
The forge armor, not the raid, but the actual forge itself.
None of it.
I liked it.
Most
I thought it
of
was good.
I thought it looks cool. Yeah.
See, I had that's where it comes into Queen needs to go and do other things instead of raid help 24/7, because I don't have all of the forge and I don't have all the gambit either, because I saw where Polar said something about the gambit looks good. I don't even know what those look like, so that's probably my fault. So I'll own that. I need to go take a look at that gear
It's
because I'll
pretty.
grind for
It's
it.
pretty like modern and smooth,
Uh-huh.
smooth lines and whatnot. Which a lot of the Destiny 2 armor is very rigid,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
the GD scatterhorn stuff that continues to drop everywhere. God damn that armor! It's everywhere.
Yes. But you're right. I forgot all about Glowhoo and Chatterwhite. I forgot about that.
Those were
But, I mean-
Forever Chatterwhite,
great
man.
rewards. Yeah.
Forever
Yeah.
Chatterwhite.
And each raid had their own unique looking armor, like crazy do you guys remember the Vault of Glass armor? Like how crazy it looked.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
And then you go to King's Fall, and it was crazy.
All
And I was
hype.
just like, yeah,
Yeah, it's like exactly all of that armor like just
Fit the theme.
fit the
I mean,
theme.
Mhm.
you could still make
Yeah.
the argument that the armor now still fits the theme with where they're dropping from.
Leviathan,
Because
yeah.
like I
Right.
mean, like the Last Wish raid, it's like knight armor that was
Yeah.
used during the Ahamkara hunt
Right.
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But I don't know, like it just doesn't have that visual appeal that like the raid armor in Destiny 1 had.
Mhm.
Like when they introduced the updated Vault of Glass raid set, like it gave you robot legs and
Or of X.
you know like the cloak for the hunter was
Wi-Fi
gorgeous because it
signal.
had that holographic like I don't know bright grid on the back
Mhm.
and just none of that really pops out in D2 in
I
terms
see
of
everything you're describing when I look at a sparrow. I really do. When I look at the sparrows in collections, I see the fine lines.
That's
I see the
true.
piping. I
The
see.
wings.
I see
Yeah.
every
All the
detail
design
you were
went.
describing
Yeah.
exists in areas that you don't care are there, and that's not
Yep.
anybody's fault. But the fact that we're getting sparrows, ships, and shaders and everything just thrown at us, just literally just thrown at
Yeah.
us.
yeah.
I would rather have
Alliteration.
bad booty looking armor than a cool
Ship.
sparrow. If you want to
Yeah.
know the truth,
Yeah.
I don't really
Well-
care what my sparrow or my ship looks like.
I care if
I
my
would
sparrow
prefer-
comes out fast.
That's
Yeah,
true.
That's
it
it.
could be. It could
I'll
have
go
the
with you on
wings
that.
falling off of it.
Literally
It could
it.
have sparks hitting the ground. You know what I'm talking about? Like the one side might not even work. It only makes left
Yeah.
turns. But as long as I whip that thing out quick and I can be on my way, like that's all I care about when it comes to a
Yeah.
sparrow.
It sounds
Yeah.
like a
You know?
moped when it's coming out.
Exactly, yeah,
You know?
It comes out right when you call it.
Exactly. Exactly.
I
I
feel
agree
ya.
with you on that.
So,
Yeah.
Before we move on to questions, what did everybody
Mhm.
think of the raid along this week?
I didn't
Ooh,
get to
Shadow
watch it.
Throne.
I wish I did. It was the last day of gaming for Pits for or I think. I don't remember anymore. I don't even know
You can
what
always
day it
catch
is.
the VOD.
I
It's
can
very-
always catch the VOD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
I enjoyed it. It's fun to see what's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
It was really enjoyable. I mean, yeah, like Queen said, it's always neat to see like the insights of what developers go through when developing that kind of activity. I think the one detail that stood out to me the most of the development of Shattered Throne was that it was designed to where it was soloable
Yeah.
and
I
then
had
it
one person.
was worked like it was almost like worked in reverse. Then they like made it, you know, like or tweaked it for 3 people. But
Right.
like their like design choices like, all right, is this soloable? Can people do this alone? And then they accommodated it for a fire team of 3,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
So
cool.
you just adjust damage numbers on bosses essentially. You make it so no mechanic.
probably
Just 2 people to
mechanics.
acquire.
It's
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
it's
I wasn't
probably
sure if it was a dumb number
mechanics
crunch.
that are able to be done by alone
One person. Right?
one person.
Yeah,
one
I-
guardian, yeah.
Which
Yeah,
we've
like-
done. Raise your
I-
hand.
We did it.
Someone-
Not this chick.
Oh,
I
no,
made
don't get it.
I made the mistake of doing it on my hunter, and I got to the ogre.
Mistake? Mistake?
That's how
She's right. The
I
mistake of
soloed it on
doing
my
it.
hunter. I sold on I used a void tether for that.
Well,
for
that's
Vortex.
what I was working on, but I just was having the worst luck. And I even went in Discord and made some of my friends watch me to give me ideas. Like I actually Discord called them and was like, "Please, you're God."
Spent 8 hours in Vorgith.
Yeah.
I beat him I spent 6 hours in one day, came back the next day, beat him in the second try.
Oh.
It wasn't a
I gotta
matter
really-
of plan, it was a matter of execution. And whether
Yeah.
the hitbox for Whisper of the Worm at that point was, you know, he's
Yeah.
got this giant ass
Yeah.
face, but it only counts if you hit him dead on in the center.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Uh,
that got me.
It was
tough.
hardest for me to solo on Hunter, but you want the secret? Oh, Queenie. Get
yeah.
yourself a Voidwalker, throw on that skull, grab a Legend of
have-
Acreus, and you're
Yes.
done.
Oh, Acreus.
Acreus, you're fin. Acreus doesn't care about anything Vorgeth has to say. You just
gives
No
zero
problem. Accuracy him
fucks.
like 3 times. He's dead.
Are you messing with me? Or are you being
Not
serious?
even
'Cause
kidding.
I'm gonna try it.
You want to make it even easier? Go Well of Radiance, because then you don't even have to worry about damage. You just get up close to him, slap him, drop that thing. Accuracy. He's dead.
I'm doing
That's
it.
it.
It got
I'm
so
doing
much
it.
easier
ludicrously
after I
easy.
soloed it. I just want to point that out. Like, it got way easier. They made adjustments to all these weapons that made it
Low-key
super
shade
easy.
there.
I soloed it in November.
He's like, yeah.
Back in my day, you couldn't even have a well to put down there next to his booty.
That's how I feel like.
9 whisper shots uphill both ways.
Thunderlord was
spitballs.
key for me. That was the thing that finally did it. It was like, oh, I've got Thunderlord. This is great. I had like a Rambo moment at the
Thunderlord
end.
didn't exist
Yeah.
when I soloed it.
I had
Fools.
a Rambo moment at the end where I'm sitting there just plugging into Dalankaru, and the closer it's getting into time on the side, it's just clocking down, and I'm like, ah! I finally got him. It was awesome.
Shattered Throne is incredible. Anybody who hasn't gone through it, or
It's
especially
amazing.
hasn't soloed it, go do it. It's
My
Yeah.
favorite.
It's such a triumph.
My favorite area to exist in. I
Very,
love
very,
it.
very good. Very good. Very good.
Definitely my favorite bit of content in D2.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all right. Are we ready to move on to some of the audience questions before closing things out here?
I believe
Yes.
so. For
Right
sake
on,
of
let's
time and the ability to go into Westeros early, I'm gonna pick like 5. Is that cool?
All right.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Not allowed.
Mills asks, question for the Queen.
Uh-huh.
Why does she feel the need to smell people when she first meets them?
He's talking about when I hug people, when I hugged second and I smelled him and I was like, he smells so good. The first time that I met him, and like now cause you know when you hug people and if they
Aw.
smell really good,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
It's like, oh,
Yeah, but when you get parties on, you guys have been there, so you guys know I'm not lying.
And you smell the
And
armpits?
it's hot and sweaty, and they go to hug you.
It wasn't that like that this past year. It
No.
was like that at the fairgrounds though,
It
where
was
the
like
AC
that at the
didn't work.
fairgrounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's talking about second. I did. I'm, Mills.
I think it's a good habit.
I'm taking like 20,000 apples from Mills when we get back on. All right.
Aura has a question for you, Queen, that he typed in chat.
Okay.
If there was any change you could make to a raid, what would it be?
Oh. There was any change that I could make to a raid, what would it be? Like any change, like, okay, so tell me what you mean, Aura. Like with guns or
An encounter.
an encounter?
hmm
I'd make that godforsaken witch easier to do the witch challenge.
Would
She's
tell me more.
awful.
That-
Okay,
it
so
works.
Is that
if
when you can't
put
get hit
your
by her blast?
pinky, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know how like if you even put your pinky toe out, like if she sees it, and it
Yeah, I
even blasts
watched,
near,
Yep.
you're done.
I watched Zoe do that, and it was like playing on Equinox, where you literally had to use cover of the map to not get hit by it.
Yes.
They were hiding behind trees I didn't even see on the map to get that challenge done. Like I didn't even know the areas that they were hiding behind existed. So yeah, I feel
Yeah.
I'm down.
I got people
Creative
come into
gameplay.
my stream and they're like, can you help me do the witch challenge? I'm like,
No.
I have a command in my challenge that says in my channel that's like,
Yeah,
it's not happening. Sorry.
that's a headache.
I would change that. That challenge is a nightmare.
Real answer: erase Valkor from the game. Just you go through that whole maze, you get there, and then like he just dies. The robot kills him. You get your raid room. That would be the change.
Don't give
God.
Valcomer that much power.
Oh, now I want to hear Callus just spit out tombstone lines. Don't. Why would you put that idea
Huckleberry.
in my head? Oh, Johnny Ringo.
Johnny Ringo.
I've got 2 guns, one for each of you.
One for each of you.
Natus 1119 asks, what you guys think's gonna happen with Zer's tower bounty?
We're gonna get Yellowhorn. Actually, what we're
non-functional
gonna get how many Wolfpack rounds did it fire? Like 6?
Yeah.
9. I think we're gonna have to assemble the wolf pack rounds. We're gonna have to go out into the universe and find a wolf pack round in each area. And to finish it up, we put all the wolf pack rounds together, and it creates a Yalahorn.
We're gonna get a box of raisins.
Oh no! Ascendant raisins.
We're gonna get a box of raisins. I'm telling
taking
Oh my
raisins.
I'm telling you right now. You watch chat. I don't want to hear you guys crying when I told you.
Cane mask?
Raisins.
Oh,
Too soon, Jarv. Too soon.
Why? No clue. No clue what's gonna
I
happen.
got
with the
nothing.
tower.
I don't know. I have no idea. I hadn't even done them.
Really?
I'm up to like 3, and then it's like
Yeah.
I'm way behind.
I'm up to date with them, so I'm eagerly awaiting Tuesday to roll around.
I'm gonna be PO'd if it is something like the Galahorn or something, and I have to wait like 7 weeks just to get it. So
They take away Gambit Prime and give us Trials of Osiris. That's what happens
Yeah.
at the end.
I mean, there is still an exotic quest that has yet to be dropped in this season. We've got
Okay.
one more exotic quest that's hidden in the database, and some data leaking shows that it has something to do with a tower somewhere, and this mission's called the tower.
I'm gonna do the bounties tonight before I go watch Game
Bob,
of
stop.
Thrones.
I'm coming on back.
Wait, Zer's not
We'll
here. is he?
see.
No, he is here. Is he here, Ster? No, he's gone, right?
Zer, he's still here.
He's not. He
Still
doesn't
there.
leave
You can
until
still-
He's
Tuesday
here?
reset.
You can
That's
still go
right.
bother him.
Oh my god, I can't believe that I forgot what today was. All
I
right,
thought
yeah.
he leaves
Okay, so
tomorrow.
does he leave
He
tomorrow? I think
leaves at
tomorrow, right?
reset.
He leaves.
That's reset, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be sweating it out tonight then.
Yep.
Nem,
What?
what do you think happens?
We'll probably get a neat little cutscene, and we'll probably get an outrageous fortune out of that, and we'll move on to whatever the next reset stuff we got to do.
Yo, I'll take that outrageous fortune if it's like
Yeah.
auto-loading holster, ambitious assassin, and spike grenade. That's like the highest DPS, like legendary in the game right now.
That yeah, that's it. That's what I think we're good.
Yeah. Butt Coffee asks, this is good butt coffee. Given the opulence seems
Butt
heavily
coffee.
hinted at involving Callus somehow, would you guys like for our guardian to have a quest line to become one of his shadows? Aren't we already?
Kind of are already.
Kind of
That's what I
are.
was gonna say. My response was gonna be, how are we not already one of his shadows?
Yeah, no, like all of the gear that we get from Leviathan, it's implying that you're you're one of his shadows because you're doing his bidding and killing the Eater of Worlds, Argos, and Valkor.
We keep
Kinda
beating
are.
up the people who owe him money. I think
Yeah.
we're already.
Yeah.
We're his
shadows.
enforcers.
That's right.
Give me
Yeah, because I
that.
mean, he keeps calling us like pest control. You know,
Mm-hmm.
my giant space
Beach.
fish accidentally sucked out this Vex planet engine, and now it's like taking over my ship. Go
Mhm.
handle that for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've got this rogue dude who's like trying to take over my stuff. Go
Yeah.
do a ridiculous puzzle of a boss fight that isn't worth
What
your
a
time.
great encounter.
Yeah.
Get best encounter, easily the best. Valkor is the worst boss fight in the history of Destiny. It is the worst boss fight in the history of Destiny. When you have a fight that has 5 to 6 different fail states before you hit damage phase, I'm done. That's
I
that's
like
enough.
it, man. I dig it. I think it's fun.
I
I've
wanna
beaten
see-
it exactly once, and never again.
I want to see a mechanic.
You were there, Nim.
yeah, we did that. yeah,
Holy hell, that was 5 hours of time that I'll never get back.
yeah,
I'll never
no.
get it back.
I would love to see a mechanic where it's like a DDR pad.
Oh no. Oh,
Dude, the next the opulence boss is gonna be a DDR like dance off.
so what you're saying is that you want build off of what happened right before the Axis encounter in Wrath of the Machine. There was I'm pretty sure that was the fallen DDR pad. Like you stepped on things and it lit up,
Lit up. Yep.
right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want that so bad.
There's lore for it. There we go. What we're saying is he's on point with this. There's previously established lore. The fallen love DDR.
Yeah, that's hilarious, dude.
I think I Bungie has this way of disrupting narratives.
Yeah.
They've done it all throughout Destiny with having to go through the story, then have to stop because you couldn't advance your level, having to do adventures that break the narrative to get your level to be high enough to continue the storyline. And if Opulence does send us back to Leviathan, they're just doing the same exact thing. They're just breaking the narrative of whatever Callus' story is to send us off into Scourge of the Past and Last Wish, albeit Last Wish is incredible. I would have rather have the storyline play out and know the entire story.
The entire story. Yeah.
I mean, someone in chat just said like it's a sequel that nobody cares about the original anymore, and
so it's Bill and Ted 2.
Ted 2.
Rufus.
But cliffhangers, Aura.
Yeah.
Cliffhanger. I mean, we're talking about a video game. We're not talking about a movie and paid actors that take X number of.
Hey man, there's paid actors in that mess.
There are, but not as big a role as in listen, in any event.
Mm-hmm.
My whole statement is I would have rather had Callus and Leviathan part 1, 2, and 3 in
Rather
line
than, like,
to
in
tell
line.
the story
Zol.
than 1, 2, 3 break and now
Zol.
4
Curse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get a year later. Back to Callus.
If it wasn't for this podcast and the people I talked to in the community, I have no fucking idea what the hell's going on with Leviathan. That's just so how many of the people out there who are the casual players don't even raid or like
Yeah.
it's frustrating.
I'm guilty of that because
I was just gonna say I think it's just breaking the cycle because probably being in the same environment for like 3 DLC packs is not enjoyable.
A lot of
Yeah.
gold.
So that's probably why it's one of the main reasons why every DLC kind of has like a different theme. Because I mean, imagine just like being in the Dreadnought for 6 months.
Yeah.
Oh god.
As long as I could have a sparrow in the
I'm good.
Dreadnought. Well, to that point, there's no saying that it has to take place in that. Like when we're doing some certain quest lines or storylines, we are sent to multiple different places to interact with those storylines. I think part of unlocking some of the forges was going to the EDZ. Part of unlocking some of Osiris was going back to EDZ. So there's room for things to occur in other places.
Let's be real here. Those quest lines to unlock the forges and the infinite forest stuff, that was filler, fam. That was
What are you
just
talking
big.
about?
That was
filler?
busy work.
Absolutely
Bro,
not.
killing like 4 Minotaurs isn't filler.
Jumping
it.
back and forth between a portal just so you could kill
Yeah,
him.
bro. Killing 20 Minotaurs in a planet that only has 2 Minotaurs. No. What are you talking about?
Filler. This guy. Some nerd.
What do you guys think the 6-man activity is?
That's a good question.
That's a very good question.
A public event.
I'm excited for that, but I'm also afraid of what that can be because it's a match-made activity.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
People have a hard time passing the ball during the corrupted strike.
Oh boy, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Nim.
Oh.
I apologize already.
That is my biggest burner.
Yeah.
Whenever you matchmake with someone and they hold the ball.
Throw it. Pass the ball.
Or like in Blind Well, somebody
happened
goes
yesterday.
and picks up the ball, and they keep
Don't
chucking
kill.
at it
Keep
at the
chunking
last
it.
boss, and it's like, what are you doing? It's like you try to stand in front of them, and they go around you to like keep throwing the ball and just chip
It's
away. at the
RNG
hell.
if the shield comes down them.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
Oh, yeah. You just have to keep throwing, bro. Just have to keep throwing.
It's RNG.
And it makes
talking
me even
about?
madder because I just want to write YouTube to them. Like, go look it up. Like, you know how many times I YouTube things to see how to make things heroic? I just want to be like,
See, that
Queen.
scares me.
If you just message YouTube at them, they're going to sit there and be like, this old person forgot that they are not in a browser.
They're not in their browser.
Yeah.
I got so mad. I'm gonna tell on
Listen
myself for
here,
a second.
boomer.
I'm gonna tell on myself because I was really PO'd this day. I got so mad talking about the ball passing when you do that witch strike, or sometimes it's a nightfall and you have to pass the ball like back and forth
Powers it
to charge it.
Yep.
Oh, I was on PC one day and I had just learned how to message people because I had just got my PC. And you know how you can like hit enter and you can message the team or
Yeah.
whatever? I wrote like something that long and I was like, and if you need any more detail, I would gladly help. He left.
YouTube.
and left me by myself. I was so mad. I was like, the strike is taking me an hour.
It's a
Oh,
long
that is
strike, and that just makes it
hilarious.
so much longer when people don't realize that tossing the orb charges it, so you
Yeah.
can one-shot the shield mans. Come on, people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other day, Nim and I played that strike.
Oh no!
I don't know if you guys saw the video, the clip or not.
I haven't saw it. I want
You
to see
can
it now.
hold on to
though.
that ball for an interestingly long time.
This man had me chase him all around Sadia for a solid like 5 minutes, just giggling away.
That's
That could give
awful.
me anxiety, Dan. Come on.
That's funny. Yo, I'm so doing that to somebody.
Oh.
Oh no way.
This guy
Please.
right here.
For the love of your fire team, toss the orb. Just
Well-
toss the orb.
The funny thing is that like that first section where you attack her, that's where the orb disappears. So you don't get to do it in the ring area. That
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, this man held onto one of the orbs since the elevator throughout the entire strike. He died, in which we had to pick up the ball for
Pick up the
him,
ball!
then
Pick up the
revive
ball!
him. Yeah. Yeah, links in chat there for the clip so you guys can see him just completely sabotaging the
God.
strike.
Dan,
So
you're
fun.
mean.
It was
I
so
thought I
funny.
was mean.
Excellent
Yeah.
sabotage. Top tier sabotage.
Yeah.
So
Especially
6-man
during-
activity, public event.
Mm.
Yes.
It's a public event. It's
Probably
gonna
a public
be
event.
I think it's a
It's-
public event too.
it's gonna be whatever escalation protocol is, but designed for sick people.
And it's gonna be on like the Leviathan. That's my thing.
I
It'll
can't
be some
imagine
sort of
it's anything
matchmaking
else.
activity. Yeah.
What are you talking about, dude? It's gonna be on IO.
Do you think it's gonna be in the underbelly?
Oh, only if it's like tag and it's like in the section where you have to do the jumping puzzles.
Yeah.
That's all I would want.
Oh, it's probably gonna have jumping puzzles. I already know it. I already know it.
Been a lot of those.
Those are. I'm so terrible at jumping. Even now, I'm terrible.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what they're gonna do there, but I do believe Game of Thrones is in 2 minutes. So
I know.
1 minute.
how about we 1 minute? So how about we do a speed outro here so that we don't have to keep people any longer?
They're all gonna be like, they're all like, Game of Thrones, Game of Thrones, Game of
Game of
Thrones.
Thrones. What are you doing? What are you doing,
Yeah.
PD?
Come on, dude, you're taking forever. Game of
All right.
Thrones.
That
Ready?
being said, thank you, ladies and
I
gentlemen,
had a
for
blast.
tuning into episode 198 of the Planet Destiny podcast. Very special thanks to our guest, RedQueen. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You have been an absolute treat.
Thank you guys. I've had a blast. I appreciate it. I really
For the
do.
Borderlands people
Love
out
you,
there,
Red.
she has been a pearlescent treat. That kind of drop is what we've gotten here, and we loved having you on, and of course, you're welcome to come back anytime.
Thank you so much.
Before
You
we get
guys-
on outta
I
here-
really do appreciate it.
Oh, it's wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're
Mhm.
blessed to be graced with your presence. But before we get on out of here, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you across the internet and the kind of stuff that you do?
RedQueen everywhere. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Twitch. You can find me on Instagram under RedQueen. And as far as what I do, I just make people's life happy. That's what I do. Come in my channel and you're gonna be happy.
Beautiful description there. That's actually exactly what it is that she does. And go get raid gear because she got you with that. But all right, Aura, where you at, man?
Twitch.tv/Aura, Twitter.com/Evil3VIL_AURA. Or you can just look up Erentil.
3 volt aura.
That's right. That's right.
Oh,
We didn't get
oh.
too much time to talk about it, but this dude had a movie of the week submission this week. Latois.
Yes.
Thank you.
It
A
was
fusion
amazing.
rifle montage.
That's right.
It is fantastic and disgusting and will make you feel like you need to take a shower.
I showed
But
it to
also like
everybody.
you just busted a nut at the same time. Like it's all wrapped up into one.
Yeah!
Thank you.
God.
That's incredible.
Taking it there!
It's good. It's good. Go watch
Or
it.
it was
It's-
really good. It was
Thank
really
you.
good. I showed it to everybody. Everybody said it
Yeah.
was a great video.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Congrats on that, man. And like you probably just inspired a bunch of people to go and try fusion rifles
Heck
who
yeah.
have never given fusion rifles a chance. And I think that's fantastic. Fusions are great. They are great.
Thank you. I mean,
Yeah.
thank you.
Well, yeah, buddy. Another
Uh,
person who has a
Twitter.com
movie of
slash.
the week emblem.
What's up?
Another person who's got a movie of the week emblem.
Oh yeah, well that was thanks to Bife. All I did was just say yours, not mine, in a very forced,
Easiest
deep
win
manner.
ever.
But yeah, Twitter.com/nemplays and Twitch.tv/nemplays. Also keep an eye out on the Planet Destiny channel because we have the Community Spotlight series coming back, and our first guest is no other than RedQueen. So if you want to learn a little bit more about her and her coming ups on Twitch as a streamer, keep an eye out for that.
Right on. Mr. Dan.
Hi, guys. My name's Danfinity. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Danfinity. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Danfinity, but the I's are also actually Dan Flannelty. This week marks the return, Season 2, Episode 1 of SideQuest Sunday. That just came out today. And I've got some interesting announcements coming to my personal channel this week. So keep an eye out for that.
Right on. SideQuest Sunday, fantastic show. Go check out all of season 1. It is a great podcast, very easy listening, and he had some fantastic guests. Can't wait to see who you've got lined up for this this coming season.
I can't wait either.
That's a great answer. They contact you. But my name is The Black Link. You can find me pretty much everywhere on the internet, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all of that at The Black Link. This week, usual streams. We'll be doing some Destiny 2 stuff, maybe a Division stream or two as we finish up the Revelry and get into whatever new content is coming. Of course, we'll be covering that both on my channel at youtube.com/The Black Link and the Planet Destiny YouTube channel. Make sure you're tuning in for all that stuff. But all right, everybody, I do believe that is a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 198 of the Planet Destiny podcast. This has been a ton of fun. Once again, thank you to RedQueen for joining us tonight. Loves having you here.
I had a
And
ball.
we will catch you, Guardians, next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hi.
Bye.